We're Danny and Kate. Welcome back to our channel where we're DIY renovating a 120-year-old village house and attempting to breathe some new life into an old abandoned olive grove that's nestled in the rolling mountains in Spain. In our last video, we repaired our damaged subfloor in the kitchen, which was left in a disastrous state after removing all the tiles. We're so glad to say that round 2 was a complete success and the self-leveling concrete dried out perfectly. So now it's time for the next step and we can finally start building our dream Catalan farmhouse kitchen. But first, with winter just around the corner, it's time to get some new veggies into our raised beds. Although this year wasn't very successful in terms of the actual food that we got from the garden, it was a really good learning curve and we've learnt what works and what doesn't. We'll probably do a bit of a review video so that we can talk about the methods that we used, why we tried them, what's worked, what hasn't, what we've learnt from that, and what we're going to do for the coming seasons as we start to plant more stuff. But yeah, I think it was definitely worthwhile doing this, and even if all this is doing is putting a lot of nutrients down into the ground ready for future growing, then that's all worthwhile. So we're glad that we did it, even if we didn't get many things from it. But now it's time to get in the next set of veg. It's the end of the summer garden, and although things didn't really do very well, the rain that we've just had has popped a few things back into flower. I think it's probably too late in the season to actually get more aubergines or tomatoes, but we're going to start planting these beds with winter crops. After the rain, it was about 4 days ago, and underneath the straw here is really wet still. So it's good to see that this is definitely doing its job, and we will continue to use this method. But this time when we plant, we're going to make sure that we put a lot more compost and continually feed everything to make sure that it's getting all the nutrients that it needs.
So we got a range of kale, cabbages and broccoli. It's just knowing what they are. So this one's obviously kale, that's what it looks like. And then this one, I'm not 100% sure, but we might use the plant app. And then these two look like cabbages.
I think this one might be the broccoli.
Broccoli, but yeah, I can't remember if we got purple broccoli. I think it's normal broccoli. And they're just little plug plants like that. And they're 4 cents each, so if 1 or 2 die, we can afford to buy some more. So we felt last time we didn't really plant dense enough in the beds. Because of the kind of beds they are, they'll benefit from the shade from each other to keep away the sun and keep the moisture in. So this time we're going to put a lot more in one bed and just see how everything gets on. So we've disturbed the bed. Look at the size of that worm. Unbelievably huge. And he was running from one bed to the other because obviously wasn't happy with where we were digging. It's okay, he's going to stick him under the straw here and hopefully he'll be safe away from the birds.
It's massive, isn't it?
It's huge.
The next stage of the build was to lay the base layer for the L-shaped kitchen. Not only did this give us a level base to build up from, but it will also serve as a kickboard at the bottom of the cupboards. It's going to raise the cupboards up so the doors don't sit right down at floor level and will visually frame the cupboards too. We used terracotta bricks for some areas as a way to actually learn how to lay the bricks, and then we filled the larger, uneven areas with an expanded clay aggregate as a quick light solution.
Came up to the land, had a little bit of rain last night, and I just realised this IBC we've not touched is half full. And then when I checked here, there's a tiny little drip that's been going through there, so I've tightened up the green stopper. But it does mean we've lost 500 litres just because of that tiny little drip. And it must have just been going since we filled it, which is a bit annoying, isn't it? So this is all the cabbage and kale that we put in the other day. And we've been up to water once or twice, but last night we had a bit of rain as well, so this straw's nice and wet. But they've taken really nicely. They're all popping up really well. Not been munched yet. We'll see how that looks up here, because we seem to be the most scrumptious place on the mountain. But yeah, I'm really pleased how well they've taken. I know it's a little late in the season. We are in October now, but we've got a little aubergine coming. So these are the Chinese aubergines that should be long and thin. And then nothing on that one. There is another one coming here on this one. I'm not sure if we'll actually get to eat them or not. I think it might get too cold too quickly. We'll see. Can always eat a small aubergine, I guess. And this is the sweet potato patch. It did okay through the summer. We watered it. Kate had a look under one of them and there wasn't really anything, so we'll pull it up one of these days and have a look, because they are starting to sell sweet potatoes now, so I imagine that means they're starting to be ready. The peas are settling in nicely. That grape's come back very well. So these are all peas across the bottom here. They're all looking pretty good. And then we're going to replace that grape. Go on then. Go on. So after the little bit of rain yesterday, I think it said we had 7 mil. I just want to come over, look at this water channel, see if it got any puddles in it, like we collected any. I don't think so. I don't think it was quite enough rainfall to capture. I mean, it's damp. There's no puddles, so I don't think we caught anything. Come here. Good lad.
perfectionist in me is actually really enjoying developing this new skill. I have a newfound appreciation for tradespeople though, because I'm possibly the world's slowest bricklayer. But I'm really enjoying this new challenge of learning to set down the mortar and bricks so that everything is level in all directions. We want to install drawers as well as shelves, and we've been told that one of the most important things is to build the walls as straight as we can. I may have taken this a bit too literally though, checking everything several times as I set down each brick. But I've always thought that if a job's worth doing, then it's worth doing well. So I'd rather spend the time now and do it properly, rather than regret it when we come to actually do the cupboards and the drawers and everything else.
So we've just come up to the land again to give everything a little water, and this one has just given me a nice aubergine, little, but I'm going to take him while we can eat it. And this guy's got another little one on, which I might wait a little while for, and then I'm going to take this one as well. Well, I might leave that actually for another week or two, so I don't think there's much left for the season. And last time he got stolen by a bug. And this one now isn't really getting watered, so it's nice to get something from it. And then these are the cabbages that we've put in a week and a half ago now, maybe 2 weeks. Everything's taken really well. And we've only been up once or twice to water, but we did have a rainstorm as well. Well, not enough to capture water, but enough to give everything a good watering. So yeah, they're looking really nice as well, which is good to see. So this is the lemon tree that we put in a few years back, and it's not happy here. Keeps losing its leaves, keeps sticking new ones out, but it's trying to flower again. But I'm going to chop the flowers off because I want it to put energy into its roots and foliage, not loads of lemons that I don't think it's got the strength to support. So I don't know if you can eat these little lemon buds or flowers, like in a salad or something. So if anyone knows about that, leave a comment and let us know. So that's a bit brutal, but everything's off, and I've shortened the stems that look like they were dying off. And then these are the lemons that were starting to form and some of the flower. So the flower smells really nice. It doesn't smell very lemony particularly, but has a citrus note to it, but smells very nice. Whereas these, as soon as you start getting these little green balls on that will turn into lemons, actually have a lemony smell to them.
Before we could start to build the walls of our kitchen cupboards, we needed to measure out the appliances and the cupboard spacing. Once all that was done, it was time to lay the first bricks. And honestly, I was a little bit nervous. To do the first brick, and I'm a bit nervous actually. Unfortunately, my storage was full, but I did manage to get 2 layers done, even if the camera didn't capture it. So it's pretty slow going and probably the slowest bricky in the world, but I've done it. They're pretty straight, they're pretty level. I'm quite happy with it. So Isabel's back from nursery now, it's time to go and have some lunch, and then I'll come back to this either later on or tomorrow morning. We've been working on the kitchen on and off for the last few days, and this is where we've got to. I think this is probably where we're going to leave this video and then continue with the rest of the kitchen on the next one. So just wanted to say a massive thank you to our Patreons and everyone who watches these videos and gives us a big thumbs up or leaves us a comment. Everything really helps with helping us to grow this channel and keeping us to continue to show all of the progress that we're making on our house renovation. So thank you so much if you've made it all the way to the end, and we'll see you on the next one.